Innovation Fund, again, look forward to your questions. Before I turn this back over to the leaders of our call, let me just briefly update you on TANF Re-Authorization and also the exciting work we're doing on transitional jobs. On TANF Reauthorization, TANF, as all of you I'm sure know, is our welfare reform program, essentially was the successor program to AFTC. The way that the TANF program works, as you know, it's a federal program that provides block grants to the states. The way that it's budgeted for and administered in Washington is that both the rules for the program and the funding is provided for several-year chunks at a time, typically 5 years. So in 2006, the program was reauthorized. It was created in 1996, reauthorized in 2006, later than Congress had expected to do that. But then it was done for 5 years. So at the end of this year, the program is up for renewal. It means sort of it's an opportunity for Congress to look again at the laws governing the program, seeing if it wants to make some changes to that, to look at funding levels for the individual elements and so on. So ordinarily, this year would be a year in which Congress would have been starting to be very actively engaged in that, holding hearings, getting experts in, figuring out what to do, and we would be providing our input as the administration into what the direction we thought the program should head in. Because this has been such an unusual year, given the difficult economic circumstances we've been in, the President proposed in his budget to extend the program as it is for another year, to basically push this into next year. And particularly what we'd like to do this year and what we are doing is focus on the TANF Emergency Fund, which was created in the Recovery and Reinvestment Act last year and has proven a particularly promising source of resources for subsidized jobs programs. We will have potentially by the end of this year 100,000 people who have gotten jobs through this TANF Emergency Fund. These are folks who, obviously, because they're knocking on the door of TANF, are experiencing some real struggles. And this is an emergency fund that's actually providing a pipeline for them into employment, which is so important. The President's proposed extending that funding, adding to it, expanding some of the allowable uses of it. And TANF funds more generally, I should just note as a side note here, are actually extremely flexible, as I'm sure many of you know. And they can be used to serve dads and non-custodial parents, too. In fact, there's guidance that HHS has put out on how you can use TANF funds to make payments in lieu of child support to help non-custodial parents deal with arrearage issues if they're doing that as part of, for example, engaging in an employment program. So they're actually, and we are pumping new resources into the TANF program for the first time in a long time through this emergency fund. So there really is, even this year, with these emergency fund resources, with the, I think, an increased attention to the TANF program and the role it can play, some real opportunities around the country to do some real good for custodial as well as non-custodial parents, and for couples, too. They're certainly served by the TANF program in a number of ways. So that's where we are with TANF